Swarmers and Strand work together very well for Warlocks, and this is one of the best builds that we've got for PvE content this season. This build focuses on creating Threadlings, allowing us to easily clear our edge with our army of mini-strand minions. Well, today I'm going to go through the Swarmers Strand Warlock build. I'm going to walk through the subclass setup, including the aspects and the fragments, the exotic armor, weapon recommendations and mods, so you can unleash a mini-strand army on your enemies in Destiny 2. Well, this Swarmers build is an essential build for Warlocks this season. It helps you dish out big damage, plus also it's a whole load of fun. With this build we're going to be producing a near infinite stream of Threadlings, and Swarmers are really the only essential item for the build, plus unlocking all the latest Strand aspects and fragments. Now, the weapons are mix and match, so therefore you can tailor this to the activity that you enjoy. Could be a straightforward Vanguard Ops mission, or something like endgame like Nightfalls, dungeons and raids. Without further delay, let's check out the build setup, and then we're going to have a look at the gameplay loop. Well, first of all, we've got the Strand subclass. So for my super, I'm using Needle Storm. For my class ability, I'm using a Healing Rift, and my melee ability, an Arcane Needle. And for my grenade, I'm using a Threadling Grenade. For my aspects, I'm using Weaver's Call, so casting your ability spawns 3 Threadlings. And then for the other one, I'm using the Wanderer, so Threadlings create tangles, and tangles suspend enemies when they are destroyed. For the fragments, I'm using a Thread of Rebirth, so every kill have a chance to spawn a Threadling. Thread of Evolution, Threadlings deal more damage and travel further. Thread of Generation, so regenerates grenade energy when dealing damage. Then you've got Thread of Warding, and that provides Woven Mail when you collect an Orb of Power. And Woven Mail, of course, is a Strand Overshield, protecting against non-precision damage. Well, next up, let's have a look at the exotic armor, and I'm using the Swarmers here. They are exotic Warlock leg armor with the exotic perk Swarmers. So that means destroying a tangle spawns a Threadling. Your Threadlings unravel targets that they damage. Well, you can get this exotic leg armor from Legend and Master Lost Sectors on leg day. Otherwise, you can get them from the Vex Incursion event, and that is a random public event on Neomuna that rewards the exotic armor. Personally, I much prefer the Vex Incursion event, as it is much quicker and easier than the Legend or Master Lost Sectors. Well, next up, let's have a look at the weapons. So for the weapons, you want to look for weapons that have the Hatchling perk. It's going to help with the creation of even more Threadlings. So, first of all, Rufus's Fury. So, legendary kinetic auto rifle with a rapid fire frame, meaning deeper ammo reserves. Plus, it also deals strand damage, of course. And you've got slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. To get this one, you're going to need to go into the Root of Nightmares raid in Destiny 2, and that is a part of Lightfall, of course. It can drop from the third and the final encounter. Once you get hold of it, you can get it from the secret chest in the raid as well. And all the raid weapons come with the origin trait Harmonic Resonance. That means equipping multiple weapons with a set glance weapon increases reload speed and handling, and also increases damage against Tormentors and Lucent Hive and Guardians when they're super active. In the energy slot, I'm using Tessellation. It is an exotic fusion rifle. We've got the perks Undecidable. So the weapon adapts its damage type to match your equipped subclass, and Final Blows grant grenade energy. Very useful for this build. Then we've got Irreducible. Consume your grenade to load a large projectile that generates an elemental explosion on the impact. The Undecidable perk is what makes this one very, very unique. So given the weapon can match the element of your subclass, that means you can run a full Strand build for the very first time, because this is in the energy slot. You can pair this with Strand kinetic and power weapons to give you all 3 Strand weapons, so really, really good for this build. Now, you can get this weapon by pre-ordering the Final Shape DLC. Finally, in the power slot, we've got Circular Logic. It's a legendary power machine gun with an adaptive frame, meaning it's got wear and a grip, it's reliable and it's sturdy. It comes with the origin trait Nanotech Tracer Rockets, where landing multiple hits turns your next shot into a homing micro-missile. You can get this one from activities on Neomuna. But to be honest, all of these weapons are mix and match. You can match the weapons to the activity you are doing. So for example, if you're going into Nightfall and you need to use a pulse rifle or a scout rifle or whatever, you can mix and match the weapons for the activity. Well, next up, let's have a look at the mods. So for the head, I'm using a Strand Siphon mod. So rapid strand weapon final blows create orbs of power. For the arms, I'm using Fire Power, where your grenade final blows create orbs of power. And bolstering detonation, that grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. On the chest, I'm using Font of Endurance, where you gain bonus resilience while you've got an armor charge, and your armor charge now decays over time. And emergency reinforcement, so when your shields become broken, you gain temporary damage reduction. On the legs, I'm using Innovation, so it reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power, and Recuperation replenishes health every time you pick up an orb of power. Then you got the class items, so Powerful Attraction automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability, and then Bomber reduces the grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Well, that is the build. Let's have a look at the gameplay loop next of all. So the basics of the build are just create as many Threadlings as you possibly can. Your grenade creates Threadlings, as does your Rift. If you've got hatchling weapons, they also create Threadlings. And through the Threadlings, you'll be able to create Tangles, and exploding the Tangles creates more Threadlings, giving you a very nice gameplay loop. As your Threadlings kill your enemies, they're going to leave behind orbs, and you can pick those up to give you woven mail, helping you stay alive for even longer. So, as I mentioned, it's all about creating hatchlings, and we're going to be using a combination of our Strand subclass, weapons, and exotic armor. Swarmers are the centerpiece of the build and are really the only must-have item here. Weapons with hatchling are good, but also weapons with demolitionist are also very good because we can create Threadlings with our grenades, as well as our weapons and the class ability. There aren't really any essential weapons for the build. Tessellation is good because you can have all three weapons deal strand damage, and when you combine that with your fragments, you can be able to create even more Threadlings. Thread of Evolution helps you make Threadlings, and they're even more powerful than before, but getting kills is key to the build, so you want to focus on red bar enemies and clear them out, and that will create loads and loads and loads of Threadlings. The Wanderer aspect is also good because of the ability to suspend enemies. It's going to help you control the battlefield. As well as suspend, you're going to be creating more Tangles, which you can either pick up and throw, or you can shoot them to make them explode. Tangles that explode now create a delayed suspending detonation, and that was buffed before Season of the Witch. Bolstering detonation is also good, helps you get your Rift back nice and quickly, giving you another outlet for creating hatchlings. Yeah, other mods are focusing on creating orbs with strand kills, and Thread of Warding is really good, given when you're going to be picking up orbs, you're going to get woven mail, and essentially that's an overshield to help you stay alive for even longer. Well, that is it for the gameplay loop, and that is it for the build, but let me know down in the comments what you think about this Swarmers build, and if you've got any improvements to the build, share that down there in the comments, and share it all with the community. And what I'll do, I'll put a dim link down in the comments as well, or down in the description, so it's nice and easy for you to get hold of this build. Well, that is it for the Swarmers Strand Warlock build in Destiny 2, and as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.